Bettor Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for
Friday the 13th.
Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Bettor Sports Betting Show. I am Dan Servodidio. I'm with Howard Bender on this fine Friday the 13th. I'm scared. I'm a little rattled. You know, Howard, you never rattled me with your sometimes doing faces or different things, but I'm rattled right now. I don't know how to.
Yeah, I just swapped places with you right then and there. See?
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Welcome in here to the Football Friday on the Bettor Sports Betting Show. We got a ton of NFL Week 6 bets, props, predictions, touchdown calls, all to hand out on this show. Me and Howard, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Hanging in there. I took some lumps in the MLB world. Mazel tov on your Phillies and all the great stuff there. Bryce Harper is a bully, good stuff for you. I am 100% now. I am bleeding Arizona Diamondbacks maroon, purple, gold, and whatever other color is in their logo.
They can't even choose one color.
There's some red in there too. I don't even know. But go Diamondbacks, go Rangers. Listen. This is where I stop betting the postseason. I'm done with betting the postseason for baseball. I'm just a huge baseball fan, and with the teams that are in there right now, this is too personal for me. I want the Rangers so badly to beat the Astros because I so very much dislike the Houston Astros. I'm just gonna go with the Diamondbacks because I was so gung-ho Braves and they completely let me down, and Bryce Harper is a bully trying to stare down little Orlando Arcia, who's big deal, so he made a couple of comments in the media.
I will not stand for this slander against Bryce Harper being a bully for what he did. That was a boss move right there.
What's he accomplishing by staring him down? What is he trying to do? Is he what like if I'm out anywhere and I start staring somebody down, what am I expecting? I'm expecting that person to,
it's an intimidation factor.
He
proved with his home runs and with his stare down that he had the upper hand here on the field over Arcia and the Braves. And what Arcia came up with, a runner on, a chance to make some damage against the Phillies, and I think he either struck out or he popped out like something. So he didn't come through. The stare got to him. So, and the rest of the whole Braves lineup.
Hold on. I'm taking a phone call right now from Jonathan Papelbon. All right, hang on one second here. We're gonna talk about Bryce Harper and what a great guy he is.
Yeah, you guys can band together in hating on Bryce Harper. Yeah, wasn't it Papelbon who tried to he grabbed his neck in the dugout?
Choked him out. I can't remember. I don't even know if that was Harper's rookie year. I mean, it was early on.
Yeah.
It was pretty early on.
That was when Papelbon was starting to blow up and really lose his stuff. So, I mean, listen, I will say before Bryce Harper joined the Phillies, when he was on the Nats, he was just one of those players where he really got to you. And he's just one of those players that if he's not on your team, I can see why people wouldn't like him, because I didn't really like him before. But now he's one of us, and he's doing things. He's doing things in October, so I'm here for it. We got the both series wrapped up. So the Rangers Astros get going on Sunday, and then the Diamondbacks Phillies on Monday. Either way, should be two really good series, and it's really interesting to see. Much has been made about all these top teams, the division winners. A lot of them are out now. Dodgers really fell apart. Braves, we saw them fall. And now we got, 3 or 4 teams, 3 of them wild cards, but 4 teams that were 90 wins or lower, which I think is the first or second time ever this has happened in the NLCS, ALCS eras. So crazy stuff. Should be fun to watch.
I'm actually going to bet these series because both these series I'm getting plus odds. So Texas Rangers at plus 120 to beat the
I
Astros.
thought you might do that.
Diamondbacks plus 145 to win against the Phillies. It's good enough for me to lay a unit on each and have a little skin in the game while I say up yours to a couple of teams that deserve the up yours.
Well, and in each game one, you can take both teams as the underdogs too. So I think I'm trying to get the stare down from Howard Bryce Harper here.
It's accomplished nothing.
I'm intimidated. I don't know what to do now. I'm probably just gonna fall apart now. Oh, man.
Or at least not get the game-winning hit.
Well, did you see the clips of Arcia yelling?
No.
Turned around yelling back at the Phillies fans.
It's done and it's done and it's over to me. It's a life moves on kind of a thing. Again, that's why I said I'll take the plus odds. You know what I really want to do? I want to talk football.
You want to talk?
I don't want to
football?
talk baseball anymore.
Well, I see you got the Jets shirt on because as we talked about on Wednesday's show, my Eagles against your Jets this weekend. We'll see if we got any picks on that game coming up. We'll get to some.
It's laundry day. It's laundry. I just so you know, it's just because it's laundry.
Oh, this is just the last thing in the bottom of the closet there.
This smelled the nicest out of everything in the hamper.
There you go. So if you got any of your own picks, by the way, definitely throw them in the chat here. It's awesome seeing on Fridays you guys throwing in your parlays. I know Smokey's probably got a same game parlay out there that he wants to throw at us. Any touchdown predictions, any parlays across multiple games, definitely throw them in this chat. See if we're aligned on any of these picks. Let's jump right into it. Let's start with game bets. We'll get to props and touchdown calls soon, but let's start with our game by game bets here. Where are you going with one of your first picks here, Howard?
I'm just, I've been talking about this for the last couple of days. I find it incredibly suspicious and slightly weird that we're all in on Justin Fields and DJ Moore, and they finally worked it out, and everything's great. And look at this offense, and it's so potent, and it's so unbelievable. And now they're at home, and they're going up against a 1-4 Minnesota Vikings team that has been struggling on both sides of the ball. Like, they can put up some points, yes, but their defense is not strong. And there's a lot, that's just question marks about. They just lost their best offensive weapon in Justin Jefferson. Why in the world are the Vikings a 3-point favorite in this game? Like, everybody's going to take the Bears and the points. It makes no sense that the Vikings are the favorite in this game. So that to me is Vegas just telling everybody, oh yeah, take the Bears. You're getting points. You might as well. Thank you very much. I'm going to take the Vikings -3 here and just completely go against the public.
I totally understand this logic because I've done this numerous times in college football this year. If you've seen my best bets articles or giving out the picks on Thursdays, I've done this when, I think it was 2 weeks ago, UCLA was favored over a ranked, undefeated Washington State team. And it was like, oh, why is this? But UCLA won. They covered, and I gave out UCLA because it was just one of those general things where it doesn't totally make sense, but there's a reason here. And, the Bears.
Vegas knows what that reason is.
And they know more of the public just because of the market that Chicago is going to back the Bears probably getting points here. So I saw the Bears today before we went live here now have officially ruled out Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson. So this backfield is down to Dante Foreman and Darrington Evans. So going to be a lot of Justin Fields trying to make plays with his legs probably, which I don't think is going to bode too well here. So. And the Bears defense is terrible. The Vikings, even without Jefferson, should have success in this matchup. So I like it. I like the pick. All right, I'm going to an underdog here. Give me the Colts +4, 4.5 on FanDuel -120 against the Jaguars here. It's a rematch of week one, divisional matchup rematch of week one, which automatically has me leaning towards the underdog because the Colts actually played them tough in that week one loss The Jags did cover, but I think the Colts are going to be back and a little bit better this time around. The main thing, though, the Jaguars coming off their 2 games in London did not choose to take a bye after the 2 London games. Now have to go right back into their schedule, right back into a divisional matchup here against, a Colts team that's a little bit better than I thought they might be. So I think it's a tough spot and a letdown too, after they just got a huge win over the Bills. Their season's back on track, but I think the Colts are going to play them tough here. Without Anthony Richardson, by the way, but I'm actually fine with it. And I feel fine with Gardner Minshew being there, kind of like a more veteran presence, has been looking decent in this Colts offense when he's been in there filling in for Richardson. They get Jonathan Taylor back. He only got a few carries last week, but Zach Moss went wild. So I feel like the 1-2 rushing punch with them is going to be really good for Minshew just to kind of manage the game here. And, I don't think the drop-off from Richardson, if at all, is that huge to Minshew here. So, yeah, give me the Colts getting points here. Revenge game for Minshew against the Jaguars, too. How about that?
I was waiting to see how long it took you to
well,
mention
I wasn't going to
one.
lead with that one, But the other key thing is Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson, for that matter, but Trevor Lawrence in his career, 3-7 against the spread as a favorite, and that's including 0-5 against the spread when he's favored by 4 points or more, which we have here. So, yeah, give me the Colts here to cover, even though it's on the road. I like it.
I have this bet as well. I've already made it.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, because, and I'll tell you, it's what's interesting here is I think Gardner Minshew is a better passer than he is a runner, but he's still a mobile QB, so he can extend plays with his legs and, whatever. When you've got Richardson there, you're planning on him like design runs and things like that. One of the things for me is the Jaguars really don't know exactly what the Colts are going to do game plan wise. I think, when you look at the fact that you've got Minshew and you've got Taylor Moss 1-2 punch, but then you've got weapons that you've seen Minshew lock into Josh Downs. You've seen, maybe Michael Pittman is fine. That you've got a different style of QB, but the type of QB that you have, you can go a couple of different ways with it. So it's much more difficult to kind of game plan on a defensive side because you're not exactly sure what they're going to do. The general system that's in place there for the Colts, but they can actually go in a couple of different ways. And I like that aspect of it for them as well. But I mask it all with it's a Gardner Minshew revenge game because it's just easier to say. It's a little funnier, but like that right there, what I gave you is what is underneath when you say Gardner Minshew revenge game, because it is Gardner Minshew starting and the Jags really aren't sure exactly how, Steichen's going to game plan this one. So,
Minshew's taking it a little personally that they went with Trevor Lawrence over him. I mean, who's Trevor Lawrence?
It's the long flowing blonde locks versus jean shorts and a mustache. So what do you like? What do you like? But I like the Colts in this one too.
All right. Love it.
My next one here, Seattle, Cincinnati. I don't really understand unless there's like going to be some like sudden rainstorm that happens in Cincinnati. I just feel like this game is going over the 45. Burrow is back and he's healthier and healthier each week. He's coming off of an absolutely fantastic week where if you watched him play, you saw that, the increased mobility. You felt confident about the Bengals. It's also not a great defense for Seattle. This kind of lines up as like a nice little thing. Seattle's pass rush is good, not great. And so I think it's a great spot for him. On the other side, I still think Seattle's defense is trash. Cincinnati's defense. I think it's garbage, right? I mean, not garbage, but listen, Kenneth Walker, they give up the second most rushing yards per game. All right, Kenneth Walker's going to run all over them. Their secondary is still, kind of being rebuilt, and they missed the old regime there. Seattle's got enough weaponry that they can throw a ton at them. I think this game pops. I don't care who wins. Just give me a big back and forth explosion.
Well, let me stick with that game because I'm on the Seahawks here, plus the 3 points. I love all of what you just said about the Seattle offense against Cincinnati, because you mentioned it. Cincinnati, second worst rush defense in the NFL, only behind the Broncos. The combination of Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, I feel like is going to run all over this offense or over this defense, because it's a Seattle team that likes to lean on the run anyway with those two guys. This is what they do. But yeah, plus 3 on DraftKings, by the way. It's been, going back and forth between 2.5, 3. But I like getting those 3 points. And Seattle coming off a bye week, and they're also getting a little bit more healthier, getting their left tackle and right guard both back from injury for this game. Likely both back, but definitely keep an eye on that. But they're trending in the right way. But the other side, I do agree. I'm not totally in love with the Seattle defense. They're also dealing with some injuries in the secondary. Getting Jamal Adams back, though, from concussion. So I think that's huge. But I need to see consistent, 2 games in a row, 3 games in a row from Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati offense to actually trust them. I'm not going to totally, poo-poo your over pick here, but I just think Joe Burrow is still capable of having a dud game. I know he looked good last week. It was against Arizona, though. I think this is a different test against a rested, solid Seattle defense. That's kind of, I know they've had their struggles, but I think they're a little bit better than what they've done so far this year. They have one of the better run defenses in the NFL this year, too. So I think it's going to put more pressure on Burrow to make plays, which could go a little badly for them. So I like getting the Seahawks here as the underdog. And by the way, some against the spread trends, both really in favor of Geno Smith and Pete Carroll as underdogs in their career, both around 60% cover rate as dogs. So, give me them here getting the points.
I'm totally fine with that, Servo. Like I said, I don't care who wins this game. You know what? As long as Seattle covers the 3 points and it goes over the 45, then we're good. We're there.
I'm good with that too.
All right. Rock on, baby. I got another over-under if you want.
Throw it at me.
Here it comes. New Orleans Saints, Houston Texans. It's a low number at 42.5, but I think the Saints are still trying to figure out who they are, right? Like Derek Carr, yeah, he's back in full practice and, whatever, but the shoulder is still kind of an issue. You've got Alvin Kamara. You want to run against the Houston Texans, right? And on the other hand, you've also got Houston. CJ Stroud, fantasy numbers look great, but if you look at reality numbers, still turning over the ball a lot, making rookie mistakes. He's phenomenal. I love him for the long term, right? And you can use him. You can get away with him in fantasy, but, in reality, he's dealing with a very tough matchup here. You're going to have Marshawn Lattimore on top of Nico Collins. So, I feel like this game is just going to stay under, especially if New Orleans if they do go heavy here with Alvin Kamara. There can be some passing in there, but looking at this game, man, maybe it's like a 24-14 kind of a situation like that, sort of a spot. I just don't think there's a lot of scoring going on here.
Yeah, listen, CJ Stroud is been, as you mentioned, looking good for fantasy so far, looking strong as a rookie. He's yet to throw an interception, though, this year. And if there was, I know you hate we always make fun of the he's due thing, but a rookie quarterback who's yet to throw an interception in the first few weeks of the season, I do think he's due to throw a pick or two at some point soon. So I think it could come here, even though it's at home. I'm leaning towards the under here. I looked at the Texans, as the underdog too, but I do think Stroud is kind of due for one of his, lower games. And it could come here. So, yeah. I'm going to go, I'll stick with the over-unders here. Let me go with Ravens-Titans over 41.5 over on FanDuel. This is the London game. I mentioned last week with the I'm ready. Yeah, bright and early on Sunday morning. I mentioned last week.
They're killing me out here on the West Coast. Do they have any idea what they're doing?
Yeah, it's so early for you guys. 6:30 in the morning.
Dude.
What's sleep, All right, Jags Bills last week. I mentioned in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is where this game is. I went with the over in that because some trends from most games have been played in that stadium compared to Wembley, but the games in Tottenham 5-1 to the over before last week. It barely missed last week. Still saw 45 total points scored in that Jags Bills, but it went under. So now it's 5-2 to the over in Tottenham Stadium, which is like a faster turf field compared to what Wembley is. So that's a trend I initially looked at. But also, I look at both these teams last week. The Ravens and Titans both left a lot of points on the board. Ravens against the Steelers, they had multiple turnovers, including an interception in the end zone. They went for it on fourth down in Steelers territory to end the first half instead of kicking a field goal and did not get it. They settled for a field goal when they had first and goal at the 4-yard line and could not punch it in there. So that they could have scored a lot more points against Pittsburgh last week. And then Titans too. They settled for 3 field goals last week, got stopped on 4th and 1 against the Colts on the Colts 5-yard line. I think these are both teams that are kind of, positive regression for them in terms of scoring. Titans have a solid rush defense, but a below average pass defense. I feel like Lamar Jackson's going to want to, kind of show off his arm a little bit more. He's now clicking in this Todd Monken offense, I think, a little bit more. I mentioned he threw that pick in the end zone multiple times. They could have went down and scored, but did not last week. I just feel like this offense can be a little bit better this year or this weekend. And the Ravens, statistically, one of the best this year, but they also have not faced a lot of good offenses or quarterbacks this year. They played week 1, Texans against Stroud, making his NFL first start. Week 2, Bengals against the hobbled Joe Burrow. Week 3, Colts against Gardner Minshew at quarterback there. Week 4, Browns with Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback. And then week 5, Steelers against Kenny Pickett. I know the Titans aren't this really good offense, but I do trust Tannehill a lot more than some of those other quarterback situations and Derrick Henry in the run game. So I just have the over here. 41.5 is just too low for offenses that can both score 25 points to 30 points in this game.
You know what? I honestly have no idea if this thing goes over or under because I wonder about both offenses. It just neither one seems to be clicking well. Derrick Henry's not running great. He's had, one great game, one good game, and then 3, nah. What are we going to do? We see the mixing in there of Tajay Spears, but again, this is going to come down to the defense and how the I would love to see nothing more than the Ravens light up this pass defense on Tennessee. I really would. Like I'm invested, right? In that. I want that. I just don't know what they're doing right now. So it's a no bet for me. I really do hope, and at least if this game does become 9-6 by the end of it, that at least the people across the pond will be they'll be like, we see this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, they're used to 0-0 finals.
0-0 games. So funny.
Better Boston in the YouTube chat saying London may be the only game it doesn't rain this weekend. So that might help my over if we don't have rainy conditions there. Yeah, there's a lot of weather issues around the country for this weekend, especially in the Northeast and just in the North in general. So definitely something to keep in mind when you're placing some of these bets, especially over-unders. Keeping track of the rain and the wind situation around the country.
What do we got? We got the worst that that there is right now. Minnesota at Chicago. Bulk of the rain should probably fall pregame, but lingering showers possible during the game. Winds 15 to 20 miles an hour sustained with gusts around 30. That is something very, very important to note.
Which game was that?
That was Minnesota-Chicago.
Whew. Gusts around 30.
Gusts around 30 for Kirk Cousins, Mr. Air It Out, and Justin Fields, Mr. Wobbly Spiral. Yeah.
with all of his running backs hurt.
every field goal goes. Bzz, bzz, bzz. San Francisco, Cleveland, lingering rain looks fairly likely. Winds 15 to 20 miles an hour, sustained gusts around 30. So yeah, so those are the two games where the weather is the big deal. There could be some rain down in Jacksonville or Miami, but Florida rain is like a little sun shower, and then all of a sudden it's gone for the rest of it.
I don't have a pick on that San Francisco game, but knowing what, obviously against the 49ers defense, but knowing what the Browns quarterback situation is with Deshaun Watson out, and who's starting again for them? I am blanking on the guy's name.
For what team?
For the Browns.
Oh, it's PJ Walker.
Yeah, PJ Walker starting for them, and this windy weather situation there. Give me like the team total under for the Cleveland Browns this week.
Oh, dude.
They might score 3 points if that.
Yeah. Mulroyd's in there with the PJ Walker.
On point, right? Better Boss asking about rain in Miami also, right? I'm not sure totally.
Yeah, I just said Jacksonville, Miami. There could be like some sprinkles, but Florida rainstorms are not a big deal. Like that's not going to have an effect, like a long-term lingering effect on the game.
All right. You got one more game pick, right? Before we get to
I do, but this is for Monday. You guys this is like a bet it now sort of a thing. But here you go. A little Monday Night Football. I'm taking the Chargers as a home dog, getting 2 points. And the reason I'm doing it here, because I've ruled out betting, in favor of the Chargers in any way, shape, or form, because they hurt me so much. I want to love them, but they just won't let me. But since the start of the 2022 season, teams are 2-18 straight up and 4-14-2 against the spread the week after facing the San Francisco 49ers.
Wow.
So how about that right there? You've got Dallas just coming off of getting their asses whooped by the 49ers. And apparently the 49ers beat teams so badly that they're shook the next game too. So with that little fun fact here, I am going to happily take the Chargers +2, in favor of that, beating the Dallas Cowboys. Or they don't even have to win the game. I don't care. Just cover my spread there that's why I just want it at +2, right? You don't want it to like go down to 1.5 or anything like that. Just stay at the +2. You're good.
It might move a little bit by Monday. So grab it now on a Friday at the +2. So that's a crazy stat for teams coming off their 49ers game. Jeez. 49ers are just, this is a similar stat to what we've seen in past Alabama teams when they were at their peak. It was like when teams play the game after facing Alabama, their win-loss record and against the spread record was terrible. Just getting beat up by Alabama. So 49ers are the NFL's version of that stat and trend. Crazy. All right. By the way, with Cowboys games, you should just bet the Cowboys every time, because if on Mondays when you host with Jim Bowden, if he's bragging a little bit, you can say, well, I won a bet and my bank account's looking a little bit better because I might be a little sad emotionally, but I'm good.
No. I will never. I just no. It's just no. Okay. No. It's like that GIF that everybody puts on Twitter of Tracy Morgan from like that movie that he did with Bruce Willis. Like, nope.
By the way, this weekend, if you want to play some DFS or you're looking to get all the good matchup reports from our fantasy football writers over at Fantasy Alarm, definitely go get the All-Pro subscription at Fantasy Alarm. You can unlock all of our content in every sport, including the draft guides for NBA. That's live. You get one-on-one expert access in the Discord, League Sync, Lineup Janitor, weekly and daily rankings. Again, we got NHL DFS now rolling. We got NBA DFS starting up soon. College football, DFS, I got some playbooks there. And Pete Cole will have that as well for Saturday night. So definitely jump in this now, fantasyline.com/win to get the all-pro subscription. You can also scan that QR code right there, less than $16 a month to go all-pro and, win some DFS, win some bets, win your leagues, all that good stuff.
Dude, that is crazy. Like, I love it for everybody, and I highly recommend it. I mean, for $16 a month, it's $187 investment right now, but for like the full year, and it's $16 a month, which it's usually $40 a month. So I gotta tell you, man, it's like week 6. So like all of a sudden, like you get that full year, and you've got like everything that we do all of next season for football also, like right up until week 6, when you'll probably end up getting to renew it at like the same price. So
yeah,
dude, it's a huge deal. I highly recommend it to everybody. What is it? FantasyAlarm.com/lock with the promo code LOCK.
And that now is a good time, if you haven't already, to jump on this, because there's people in your leagues for fantasy football that, maybe they started the year slow. They're going to stop paying attention, maybe in a few weeks, they're going to start getting down. But even if you started slow, you could jump on this, make some good trades, make some good waiver pickups, and just set those better lineups if you've started a little slow in your fantasy.
Dude, the betting content. I scratched the surface. I scratched the surface on this show. I post a betting article for every Monday night game, every Thursday night game. Right. I do one for like the full Sunday slate. This here, I love doing this. This is great. This only scratches the surface. That's why if you get the whole subscription, you lock into all of our betting content too.
For sure. Yeah. Got a couple of some more college football bets that I did not give out on yesterday's show over there with an all-pro subscription article. So jump on it. All right, let's go to some player props for Sunday's games. I'll shoot first here. You got the Jets hoodie on. I'm sorry. I'm going with an under on a Jets player here. Give me Breece Hall under 56.5 rushing yards. Going against this really good Eagles rush defense, allowing only 61 rushing yards per game, best in the NFL so far this year. They've held all 5 opposing lead running backs under this prop, under 56 yards. The game script, we got the Eagles favored by about a touchdown. I expect them to be leading, and I feel like the game script's going to force the Jets to throw more while trailing the Eagles here, and not lean on Breece Hall as much as they did last week. He had 177 rushing yards last week in the win against Denver, but again, that was against Denver, a bad defense where he saw a lot more carries, a lot more work, a lot more success with the Jets leading in that game. But in the Jets' 3 losses this year, Breece Hall has 9, 18, and 56 rushing yards while seeing considerably less carries in all those games, as I mentioned, while they're trailing, throwing more. But also just he's gotten bottled up more often than not this year. So I know he's come off a big game, but I think against the Eagles, really good run defense is a tough matchup here. So give me the under on him.
Yeah, I hope that you don't hit that. I hope that you lose that bet. How about that? Does that make you feel better?
That makes me feel great.
You feel better, Daniel?
Well, listen, after you told me, all that stuff about the Braves beating the Phillies, then I feel great about this one,
Okay. All right. Well, I hope you lose. You know what? Don't bet the farm on it. I'm just saying, because I feel bad for like you, your wife, your family. You don't want to be betting the farm on this one here, because I am going to send as much positive energy Breece Hall's way just for 57 yards. That's it. 57 on the nose.
If I had a farm to bet, I don't think I'd be spending it on a Breece Hall rushing prop.
What about a Kirk Cousins passing touchdown prop?
Okay.
Minnesota, Chicago. I'm in on Minnesota already because of the way that this spread kind of lines up. It really doesn't make much sense. There's a little piece of Kirk that just wants to tell the world, I don't need Justin. I'm just fine without him. Yeah, I don't need him at all. So I'll throw it to KJ.
Yeah, KJ Osborne.
I'll throw it to TJ. I'll throw it to TJ and I'll throw it to KJ. And there you go. Prop cashes.
And Addison. 3. Get 3 in there.
Plus 100 for over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Kirk Cousins in this matchup here against Chicago, which is not a very good defense. Plus 100 on DK. You giving me plus odds for that? Thank you.
I like that. Yeah. And that correlates right with your Vikings pick, picking them against the spread as favorites there against the Bears. Like it. Let me go with James Cook here. Over 56.5 rushing yards for him. Giants have the 3rd worst rushing defense in the league this year, allowing over 150 rushing yards per game. Giants have also allowed at least 70 rushing yards to lead backs in every single game thus far. I think James Cook is going to follow suit and be the next guy in line to do that, as well as the lead back for Buffalo. I know Damian Harris and Latavius Murray are involved getting some carries, but Cook is still the main guy getting the a lot of the rushing work for the Bills, when Josh Allen isn't running himself too. But I think the prop is a little low because there's so many guys. But Cook, he had 123 and 98 rushing yards in 2 of the Bills' wins when they could lean on him more, run it more in the second half. That's going to happen here with the Giants. Giants starting Tyrod Taylor with Daniel Jones out. It's Bills are favored by a good amount here, 2 touchdowns. I think they're going to win easy. I think they're going to be running more in the second half. So I think Cook goes, 60 plus rushing yards for sure here.
I really like this bet. Not I actually really like it. I do. Like, this was one that I was eyeballing as well when I was going through my list. You had me at playing the Giants, Servo. Like, I don't even know what you said after that. You were like, James Cook, he's playing the Giants. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. Right? I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, Latavius Murray can be that goal line touchdown poacher all he wants. Who cares? That's fine. Like, you're just looking for yards here. You don't care if he gets in the end zone. Just give me the yards.
Yeah, I thought about throwing Cook out for our touchdown predictions, but ultimately could not go there because, when they're in the red zone, it's either Allen throwing it or running it, or Damian Harris is going to pop up and score, Latavius Murray. So staying away from that one.
I like that. All right, I'm going to go on the defensive side here. Cody Barton, linebacker for the Washington Commanders, over 8.5 tackles plus assists. It's minus 105 on DraftKings. They're going up against the Atlanta Falcons, who like to try and attack the middle of the field when they can. We've seen this now with Jonnu Smith a couple of times. We see it obviously in the rushing game, in the ground game. So it's a run heavy team that when they do throw the ball, they like to try and attack the middle of the field. That puts it right there into Cody Barton to scoop up 8.5 tackles plus assists for him. I think that's it's kind of a no-brainer, man. I dig that. It's always that's always a nice one to, Coop does this all the time with the tackle props. Andrew Cooper over at Fantasy Alarm. You've seen me on the Alarm Fantasy Football with him. But yeah, he focuses in on that middle linebacker, and during specific matchups when you see run heavy schemes, or you see, teams that like to, attack the middle of the field, that middle linebacker is always in on something. So Cody Barton, there it is. Over 8.5 tackles and assists, minus 105.
Listen, I'm all aboard when you throw out a defensive prop here, because I've been hitting on these on Monday and Thursday nights, when I have a little bit more time to focus in on one game and look at the matchup and who could get the most tackles. And last night threw out Josie Jewell to go over his tackles prop, and he hit because it was him and Alex Singleton, those inside linebackers, just getting a ton of tackle opportunities against the Chiefs offense, which happens most weeks. So, yeah, I think every time you can kind of single on, one defensive guy, especially when it's the middle linebacker, inside linebacker, I'm totally with it. So it's one of those underrated, profitable props to kind of lean on when you just look at a matchup and look at the simple results and stats that have been happening.
I mean, the books will catch up to it. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's, you're starting to see a lot more exposed I'm not saying that there weren't like sharps on this earlier on, but it's become so much more mainstream now.
Yeah.
And when people, start, putting this forth and you start seeing more defensive bets like that, then, eventually the books will just kind of catch up and you'll start seeing more like double digit numbers for certain guys.
Yeah, well, it makes it a lot tougher to go over on those. It's kind of like
right. You're like at like 10.5 or
Yeah.
Even 9.5, and you're just like, yeah,
It's like how in baseball, eventually the books started making a lot of the good hitters, especially in good matchups, and in Coors Field, go the hits, runs, RBIs like over 2.5 is really tough to get now. So
yeah, definitely.
All right, another pick I'll go throw out here. You threw out you threw out Dallas Goedert last week, having a big game against the Rams, the tight ends against the Rams. Give me Zach Ertz in that matchup this week. Over 3.5 receptions, -125 on DraftKings. You laid it out last week, but I'll reiterate. The Rams have had trouble covering tight ends this year. They've allowed at least 3 receptions to opposing tight end groups in every game so far, have the Rams. The Cardinals do have Trey McBride, who's involved a little bit, but Zach Ertz is the guy, and he's the guy that has the second most targets for Arizona this year behind Marquise Brown. He has a lot bigger target share than McBride. So I think if any tight ends are catching passes here, especially early on in the game, it's going to be Ertz. He has 6 receptions in 3 of his 5 games so far this year too. 8+ targets in those 3 as well. He's a main guy for Josh Dobbs. It's him and Marquise Brown a lot of the times. Arizona also now having James Conner out, I think is going to result in more shorter completions and shorter yardage looks for Ertz, especially if the run game, gets slow going and they're probably going to be trailing the Rams in this game anyway. I feel like there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Ertz to go over this prop, 3.5 receptions.
Listen, he's, I think, the 3rd most targeted tight end in the NFL right now. I will in no way, shape, or form go against you on this one here. I love this call. I love Zach Ertz, and he gets leaned on very, 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 very nicely. Here's one for you, Eagles, and going up against my Jets, and that is DeAndre Swift, over 2.5 receptions. He's been targeted 10 times in the last 2 games. We're starting to see, him take on that role. We do see Kenneth Gainwell still pop every once in a while, but, listen, the Jets defense, the way it's all kind of set up, they rank like 23rd in DVOA against running back pass plays, and they're giving up almost 50 yards per game to them. So, if you look at the 10 catches over the last 2 games for DeAndre Swift, and you think about, can he hit 2.5? Can he get 3 catches in this one here? It's not like, the Jets will defensively, the Jets are going to kind of frustrate Philly at some point or another. Philly's not just going to, bowl over them. So, in that aspect, the Eagles are going to have to get a little bit more creative. And if that means some design screens to DeAndre Swift, because that, that'll help neutralize certain things for the Jets, I don't see an issue with that.
I'm not going to argue against an Eagles pick here, so I'm on board. All right, my last prop. I'm going with Josh Downs over 3.5 receptions in this matchup against Jacksonville. It's juiced up, -145 on BetMGM, but I'm pretty confident in it because with Gardner Minshew under center for Indianapolis, he is looking for these easier completions to the slot guy, Josh Downs, a lot. In the 2 games that the past 2 games that Minshew has come in, either started or played a lot of the game in place of Richardson, Downs had 8 receptions on 12 targets, and then he had 6 receptions on 6 targets. With Richardson out, Minshew's just, he's looking for these easy targets, 2 downs, dump off throws. I mentioned Downs' target share just has increased with Minshew under center, who's, more of a traditional, I know he's got some dual threat abilities there, but he's more of a traditional passer than Richardson, who's been looking to run it more, looking for deep balls more. And Downs, he also had he had 4 receptions in the other game that Minshew came in to relieve Richardson. So I think this is a great spot for Downs to go over 3.5 again. He's got the Jaguars nickel corner Trey Herndon on him, which isn't a tough matchup. And the Jaguars defense plays a lot of zone, I've noticed. So I think there's going to be a lot of spots where if Downs just kind of sits, 5 yards away, runs down 5 yards, just turns around, I feel like Minshew is going to be looking his way a lot. So I like the Colts to cover in this game, and I think the Minshew to Downs connection is going to be one that helps that.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing for the Indianapolis Colts right now is that they're game planning from the start, right? I mean, yeah, he leaned on Downs, and even Alec Pierce saw some strong targets as well when Minshew came in. But they also, that's the film that the Jags are watching. So I think that they'll mix it up a little bit. But I agree with you on the over for the 3.5 receptions for Downs. Because what's going to happen is that there will be a point where Minshew isn't comfortable, and that's going to be his first look.
Yeah.
Like he's immediately going to be like, I know that, the play we called him supposed to be, my first look is Pittman, but,
but Downs tackle is open right there.
the tackle missed his block, and I got to rotate out, and there's Josh Downs. There's my boy. Boop.
Yeah.
I like that.
Sweet.
My last prop, I'm not I like it. I don't love it. So I'm going to bet it. I'm just going to put a unit on it, but I'm probably only going to put like a half a unit on this, only because the number's on the low side, but it's expected to be on the low side. That's why it took so long for this prop to come out. Nico Collins under 4.5 receptions. It's -115 on DK. I've been waiting for it to see what happens when that was going to come out and see what happened to the line and where it was going to be. 4.5. I mean, that it's a tight spot right there, but it is Marshawn Lattimore that he's facing. And so I think that, I think Stroud will end up looking, more to Robert Woods, and, maybe even his tight ends more than he's going to really be able to, be on Nico. With Tank Dell out, because I believe Tank Dell is out, it's a much less nerve-wracking coverage situation. So I think Lattimore will be able to focus a lot more on Collins here. So I'll take the under, but I'm probably only going to put like a half unit on it.
Yeah, well, you also you threw out the under for this full game too, for the Saints-Texans game. So this is kind of like in line with just not expecting a ton of offense on both sides, especially on the Houston side of things. All right, so those are some props and some game bets early in the show. Let's wrap up this show with touchdown calls for NFL Week 6. Oh, we're both dancing. You got to move. You got to get moving. Okay. I see here we both have some Seahawks on the board here, which is I'm liking this for my Seahawks +3. You took the over in this game, so I'm not totally surprised that we're both on some Seahawks. I'll let you go first. Who you got scoring?
Tyler Lockett +185 for him to have a touchdown. Chidobe Awuzie, who's still banged up, he's going to be focusing a lot on DK Metcalf. We're going to see that. Tyler Lockett lines up plenty in that slot. And he's in such a great spot here against this. I don't love this Cincinnati defense at all. I don't like their secondary. It's being rebuilt and it's just not really gelling all that well. So I think Lockett goes into the end zone pretty easily in this one.
All right. Well, give me Kenneth Walker. I'm hoping there's enough scoring for both these guys to get in the end zone now. But Kenneth Walker +110 on FanDuel. We mentioned earlier, Bengals have the second worst rush defense in the NFL, which I think bodes well for Walker's, other props or just having success on the ground overall. But in the red zone, they've also allowed a rushing touchdown in 4 of 5 games this season. Walker, he's scored a touchdown in 3 straight games, got 5 touchdowns in this 3-game span, including multiple scores in 2 of those games. And he is the guy in the red zone getting a lot of the work, even though Zach Charbonnet's been a little bit more involved. It's not as much in the red zone where Walker's the guy, especially getting the rushing carries in the red zone. So give me him to score. He's the only Seahawks player to score on the ground so far this year. I feel like I don't think that's going to change often unless Charbonnet breaks a long score. But when they're down close, it's Walker in the backfield. So give me him to score.
I love it, baby. I love it. Go Seahawks. Let's do
Seahawks.
it. I mean, listen, I again, just go be a really high scoring game. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I just want a high scoring game. Go Seahawks and Bengals. Don't care who wins, but I would like for Servo to cover on his bet.
Oh, thank you. We're ending the show on a little friendly note after starting off a little shaky here.
Nah, you're the one who started off shaky. You and that bully Bryce Harper. But I got a show on Sirius XM to go do right now. I don't have time to argue with you anymore,
Okay.
Daniel.
All right, we'll end it on there. Hopefully we come back Monday. All of our bets are winners here.
Yes.
Cash
Cash it, baby. Boom.
Coming up on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm YouTube pages tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. You can catch the Campus to Canton show. And then Sunday Night Football, we get the Bettor Cast at 8:15 p.m. Eastern for that Bills-Giants game. So definitely jump on the Bettor Cast if you haven't already for that Sunday night game. All right, Howard, awesome stuff. We'll be back for Monday reviewing some of these picks, giving out some Monday Night Football predictions as well. But everyone, good luck with your own bets and your own picks this weekend. Good luck, and we'll catch you guys later.
Bettor Sports Betting.